Everyone at my school was murdered. The police questioned me and let me go. This diary exists because I cannot remember why. Me, John, and Adam were bored one day, so instead of going to class, we skipped and went to John's house to play video games. Adam and I didn't really want to go, but John was so adamant about skipping that it sounded like fun, so we gave in surprisingly easily. I really wished I had stayed for lunch because I didn't have enough time to eat breakfast that morning. As I said, I was hungry, and John pulled a ham and cheese sandwich from his bag. After eating it, I went upstairs to use the bathroom. For some reason, there were two bathrooms across from each other. I hadn't noticed the other one before, but I didn't think too much about it since I had only been at John's house a few times. We went back downstairs and continued playing games while reminiscing about old times. Eventually, I fell asleep on John's red couch, watching Corey Kenshin on his 55-inch Samsung TV. Dear Diary, May 3rd, 2007. I had fallen asleep at John's because I was supposed to go home, and when I checked my phone, I had about 20 missed calls from my dad. Panicking, I jumped in the shower and woke John and Adam. He quickly drove us to school, but the drive felt different, dark and gloomy, like one of those days where you just know something bad will happen. When we were 2 minutes away, all I could see was a sea of police cars and a mob of people surrounding the school. Sirens blared, news crews swarmed, and some parents were wailing, holding bloody clothes in their hands. That sob, it echoed in my chest and shook me to my core. I ran to the school, but yellow tape blocked the entrance. An officer stopped me. He was 6 feet tall, African-American, and his dark eyes felt like they pierced my soul. I cried and yelled, What's happening? At first, he wouldn't tell me, but eventually he said in a cold voice that my whole class had been slaughtered, the worst case he had ever seen, and that the killer had left no trace. I dropped to my knees. Everything went blank like I was a hollow shell. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a dark, unknown figure. Another officer shook me and asked my name. After I told him, he immediately took John, Adam, and me in for questioning. John was questioned for an hour and 40 minutes. When he came out, his face looked like he had seen a ghost. I knew just by looking at him that my life would never be the same. When it was my turn, I walked into a room that looked like it had been untouched for 30 years. There was a metal desk in the middle, 2 metal chairs on either side, and on the table, a closed document. On the other side was a rusted metal chain attached to the desk. When I sat down, the officer cuffed me tightly, so tight it cut off circulation. Let's begin, he said. What did you do yesterday? My mind went blank. Everything he said became a blur. What felt like only 5 seconds stretched on, and then his voice said, You're free to go. I got my things and left, confused. I couldn't remember anything from the interview or the past week. I went home. My dad hugged me tightly, relieved I was okay. He led me to the living room to check on my mental health, his voice unusually serious. But as I tried to explain, my mind went blank again. I ran to John's house and called Adam. When we compared stories, we realized we all remembered the same events, or the lack of them. Panic set in. We all went into shock, in denial because it felt surreal. Adam said he couldn't remember what he did yesterday. John said the same. I passed out on John's hard wooden floor and woke 30 minutes later. I felt sick and ran upstairs to the bathroom, but after vomiting, I collapsed again. I looked up and saw John's bathroom ceiling had been pushed out of place. Inside, I saw the piece of clothing my classmate's mother had been holding. I quickly fixed it and collapsed again, heart pounding like never before. I realized I had wet myself. I changed into a pair of pants I had left at John's months ago, splashed cold water on my face, and tried to calm down. John saw my face and asked if I was okay. I said my stomach hurt badly. He joked it must have been the ham and cheese sandwich, but I pushed him away and ran for the door. Just as I opened it, John snapped his fingers, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I was in a dark room. My hands were tied behind a wooden chair, and there was a sock in my mouth. I was wearing Mickey Mouse pants. I felt as if I had been here before. I spat out the sock and tried to move, feeling water around my feet. It was thick and dark. When I kicked something, I felt hair shaped like a human head. I started crying like never before, feeling pain like 100 needles in my eyes and rocks being squeezed out of them. My ears burned as if someone poured hand sanitizer and lemon in them. The pain lasted days, or it felt that way, until someone came in. I recognized a voice, my dad.